All right. Hi, my name is Nicolas. I'm today DesignOps lead at Sanofi. Thanks so much to be here today. We'll do our best in English, Gregory and I. But yeah, that's wonderful to have a lot of different people here, even university. That's a huge step for us. Really quickly, DesignOps Assembly. Today, we are organizing some events. DesignOps Assembly might disappear someday because it's going well to do less events. But me and Gregory and I will continue to create events about DesignOps. I present you Gregory Roy, who just appeared, who is group DesignOps leader at Thales. And I wanted also to present you the Penpot team, because we are, of course, here to talk about Penpot. So we have Pablo, the famous CEO, just here. We have Carolina, who is a growth lead at Penpot. And we have the best Medet, with growth, community and events lead. That's right, at Penpot. Wonderful. For the ones that don't know what is DesignOps, really quickly, that's the Sanofi view of what is DesignOps, because I have to present the role to every newcomer. My philosophy is that as a designer, DesignOps, I aim to be every designer's best buddy. The idea is to removing side burdens so they can reach their full potential. That means a lot, and it's not that clear also, but basically my goal is to resolve every pains, and if there is good practice to leverage to every other designers within the company, that's also my role. Main missions, so ensure that designers have access to the necessary resources, improving collaboration, and supporting designers in their day-to-day life. That's DesignOps, the philosophy of DesignOps. So we can say it's a meta designer. It's the designer that will shape the life of designers within the company. And to be more pragmatic, more specific, really quickly, once again, samples of initiative. We can talk about doing research to identify what are the pains and the delights within the day-to-day life of the designers, and based to that, we work to resolve every point. It's also about establishing common ways of doing within the company between the designers, so we can talk about guidelines, workflow, common workflow, toolkit, and so on and so on. And it's also, for example, working on the onboarding of the designers, to make sure that every designer that arrives at Sanofi has the best introduction to the company and can once again reach their full potential as soon as possible. That's for DesignOps. And now we have a question. Why this meetup topic? And I will let the mic to Gregory Roy.
Thank you. Hi everyone. Eh bien, je vais le faire en français. Comme ça, je vais donner un cours de français devant. Really simple French. Ça va être très rapide en plus. Du coup, effectivement, on avait la grande question de pourquoi on a choisi ce topic. Alors, ça remonte un peu plus loin. Pour ceux qui ont... Je ne vais pas refaire le DesignOps parce que tu as bien expliqué ça. C'est vachement bien. Voilà. Posez-lui plein de questions, il adore ça. Non, dans le rôle du DesignOps, il y a aussi accompagner un petit peu le changement, et quand le bateau remue pas mal. Et alors, depuis le 2019, avec une petite pandémie mondiale, une guerre, l'arrivée de l'IA, on en passe et des meilleurs, le bateau a bien tangué. Le design et l'UX n'a pas été épargné, et je pense que c'est ce qui a apporté de la maturité aux entreprises sur le DesignOps. Il y avait un vrai besoin d'accompagner la discipline du UX, de design de manière globale. Et il y avait ce rôle-là qui a vraiment émergé, qui a poussé depuis. Et dans les grands sujets du moment, il y en a plein, mais effectivement, il y a tous les sujets autour donc forcément de l'IA, mais ça tire des sujets comme la confiance dans les outils, où est hébergée ma data, mon workflow avec mes softwares, est-ce qu'il est en train d'évoluer ou pas. Et aujourd'hui, il y a vraiment des grandes questions autour de ce workflow entre les UX designers et les développeurs. Et qui dit workflow dit forcément question autour des outils. Donc, cette question, à Thales, on se la pose, mais on n'est vraiment pas les seuls. Et en discussion avec Nicolas, on dit, bah, tiens, on est en train de discuter avec Penpot. En ce moment, quand même, ils sont en train de prendre une bonne vague. Ils apportent des choses un peu différentes avec un autre mindset. Le côté open source, donc l'inverse de la boîte noire. Le côté, ça peut être en local, etc. Le côté, on pousse à mort sur la communauté. Il y a un vrai apport de fraîcheur sur les outils. Encore une fois, nous, on est clients. Donc, on a tout intérêt à ce que les éditeurs d'outils entre eux se tirent gentiment la bourre, parce que c'est tout le temps le client qui en profite. Et surtout, eux-mêmes le savent encore mieux que nous. Il n'y a pas de place de numéro 1 ad vitam aeternam. Quand j'étais jeune, il y a beaucoup d'années, moi j'ai entendu plein de fois dire non mais de toute façon il y a une vision et puis ça bougera pas, hein. Voilà, vous pouvez aller vous recueillir sur la tombe d'InVision maintenant, mais donc les choses bougent. Il y a un vrai besoin autant pour les éditeurs que pour les utilisateurs d'être attentifs et tout ça pour en revenir au fait que avec Nico on s'est dit mais attends mais vachement bien Penpot, pourquoi on les mettrait pas sur scène pour qu'ils viennent un peu nous raconter eux leur histoire, qu'ils viennent se faire challenger gentiment avec 2-3 questions, et puis qu'on voit un peu ce qui se passe dans ce monde-là, du maquettage, de la relation avec les développeurs et même les autres métiers. Voilà pour mon blabla. Sorry for my French, but now we will switch in English, and I will let the floor to Pablo and around the topic of Penpot.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Gregory. Thank you, Nicolas. And where's Lucas? Over there. Also, thank you for having us, and thank you, Carol and Mehmet, for coming. Istanbul, Madrid. We come from Madrid. This is actually the story of a Spanish company. This Penpot open source company comes from Spain. So this is going to be a quite challenging talk because we want to pack kind of 3 ideas into one talk. One is some visionary thought leadership there, and that's what I'm going to start with. You are going to feel how strong, strong opinionated we are about things in the design and development space. Then we are going to give you a nice little surprise. And it has to be a surprise, so you have to wait for that. And then we're going to share what is going on in the industry and how we are enjoying great growth and who is using Penpot, etc. So three small talks into one. But all this should happen in 30 minutes, okay? Just 30 minutes. And then we'll have some time for questions. And then, of course, we will hang out. And let's just start. And with the visionary stuff. So who here knows about the Treaty of Kadesh? Okay, Medet. Why Medet? Perhaps because he comes from Turkey and knows the history more than 3 millennia ago between the Hittites, the Hittite Empire, and the Egyptian Empire. And the Treaty of Kadesh, this is one of the copies that remain in cuneiform form. So this is Hittite. And is considered the first peace treaty among 2 empires. And the reason the Hittites and the Egyptians decided to sign this peace treaty was because despite the fact that they hated each other, they were fighting for the same resources and geographical area and peoples, they had other enemies surrounding them. And so in this fight against each other. They were weakening themselves and making the job easier to other menaces to actually conquer the Hittite Empire and the Egyptian Empire. So it was in their interest, and this is Ramses II, by the way. So this is not any Egyptian moment, Egyptian Empire moment. So they, out of necessity, they signed this treaty. And what's very interesting is that they had two versions of the treaty: the one in cuneiform, in this one, and the one in hieroglyphics, of course. And why I'm just even considering this Treaty of Kadesh, because today I want to share with you the Treaty of Kadesh 2.0 between designers and developers, and you'll understand the reasoning behind that. Because I do see designers and developers sometimes fighting each other, this back and forth, lost in translation, issues that DesignOps, and not just DesignOps, many tools and processes try to fix. But they're having even private jokes about designers come from Venus and developers come from Mars. And we see this, and there are people, I think, that enjoy this divide. They enjoy this fight against designers. By the way, I decided designers would be Egyptians and the developers would be Hittites. You know, the aesthetics of the Egyptians looked like for designers, and the Hittites actually mastered metallurgy and metalwork. So and cuneiform, I mean, it does look binary, right? So, so there are some people and some mindset that it's actually fun and fine to still have this divide, but this is actually weakening both designers and developers if they continue to fight against each other, because there are other menaces out there. I don't have to discuss this in detail, but this is like the rationale behind what I will discuss is the Kadesh 2.0. Peace treaty. But in this case, it's not going to be a peace treaty, but an alliance treaty. Actually surpassing the original concept of just, it is in our interest, does not fight each other, but more like we want to have an alliance, a long-lasting alliance, and interbreed if possible. So far, so good. Everyone gets like the, okay. And now if for some reason someone would ask if you know the Treaty of Kadesh, you can safely raise your hand and say, yeah, of course because I'm a history nerd. So what is for Penpot the Treaty of Kadesh 2.0? We've selected 4 major principles. The first one is to prefer declarative design as a way to onboard developers onto the design process instead of keeping imperative design principles for a design tool. Some people, anyone here understand what declarative design is? And it's fine if you don't raise your hand. Okay, this is visionary thought leadership. You're getting a bit of that here. So we have imperative design and declarative design. Imperative design is about not only telling you what to expect, but how exactly a design has to operate. All the rules. It's a very controlling environment. It's imperative. Whereas declarative design is more about the intent of the outcome, but leaves you degrees of freedom to achieve that end result. Does anybody know a visual declarative design language? I bet you do, CSS. CSS is the best example we have so far as a declarative design language. So think of CSS as road signs. You go in the street and you see a stop sign. The road signs are actually declarative design. They're telling you the intent. They're telling you by the time you get to the road, the stop sign, in this case, your speed has to equal 0. How you actually make that happen, I don't care. As long as the important rule, which is speed equals 0, happens. You can go by car, walking, bicycle. You can do it in just instantly, going from 100 to 0 kilometers per hour. Don't do that. Or whatever. But basically, it is up to you how you reach to that stop sign with speed equals 0. That is declarative. Imperative design would be, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to reach speed equals 0. All the little things, all the little variables are non-existent because I'm deciding everything. Now, guess what? Developers in their code use declarative paradigms in general. And so if you continue to use an imperative design paradigm in your design tool, is never going to go, you always have to translate an imperative design paradigm to a declarative design paradigm. And that is an issue. Do you want developers onboarding a design tool and a design process? Go declarative design. Okay? Was this clear enough? This is the first principle. Otherwise, again, designers come from Venus, developers come from Mars. Who is really winning? Who is benefiting from that? Yes. The second principle would be that open source and open standards have to be there, like an intrinsic element of the tools. This is about the tools in part. We believe that access to technology and making sure that you have full ownership of the data and you understand Gregory just said that this black box problem. So this is going against that, of course. Open source is about being unconditionally generous about how things operate. And open standards make it very practical to for that generosity to actually achieve something. Okay, just by showing the code, that's fine. But open standards actually gets you to that extra mile. So developers, by the way, will always favor open standards and open source. But we're feeling designers already are starting to understand the value of open standards, since it's their creative work that also gets hijacked and kidnapped. And they are starting to understand also the value of open source and the community that's behind it. So that would be a second principle. The third one of this Kadesh 2.0, this alliance between designers and developers, is to make sure that we are not building yet another design tool, design a prototyping tool, that has a strong opinion about what design is and how the design process should look like. At Penpot, we have this struggle. This is an ongoing tension, because you have strong opinions about how to make the best product, but perhaps it's just the best product for you. You really don't know and should not know what is the best design tool for everyone in the world. So where to stop making decisions for other people on behalf of other people, and where to and when to go, down the line, is something that is quite relevant for design toolings, because they are the tools that are there to make sure that you can create things that were not created before. So they are kind of meta tools, like DesignOps, I think was Nicolas was saying, DesignOps is meta design. Well, a design tool is a kind of a meta tool, because it's allowing you to design designs, and it's a tool that designs designs. Okay? So this means that you have a lot of responsibility in where to stop, where you are biased. Last year, actually, there was this incident with a very famous design tool, some AI generative thing, where someone would ask the weather app, just build me a weather app. And the weather app that ended up being there was quite similar to the Apple weather app. And people were having fun about this, and this company had to take this beta feature out. But what people didn't realize is that someone had decided that a cool design is actually what Apple does. And that is problematic. So, again, non-biased. Accessible and inclusive tools and workflows so everyone can join this alliance. Otherwise, it won't be an alliance. It will be it will be an alliance for the elite. But at Penpot, at least, we believe that a true alliance is welcoming and inclusive. And not everyone has historically have access to productivity tools like Penpot. And we think this Kadesh 2.0 has to be very conscious of making sure that it's not just being translated, but actually welcoming and open for different perspectives. Now, this is Kadesh 2.0 in general terms, but how we are building this in Penpot. By the way, if anyone here doesn't know about Penpot, Penpot is an open source design and prototyping tool meant for designers and developers. Who knows Penpot now? Everyone knows Penpot, okay? Yeah. I just made it official. So if we go to the declarative design, you can see here a nice screenshot, a few months old, where you can see a grid layout, native grid layout, grid CSS layout being used by a designer or a developer. We don't know. We don't care, to be honest. And this is taking CSS, declarative design principles. Whether you're using it to build websites or web-friendly apps, we don't care. We just use the CSS paradigm through declarative design principles. And Penpot has a Flexbox native and CSS grid CSS. So here you would see an example. This is like the first tool that has taken this seriously. So forget about all those tutorials for designers where you are left with easy code snippets so you understand CSS. You just use your tool. You use the design tool and you're designing declaratively. And of course, you see this inspect tab to the right. Of course, you can get the code, but you don't need to learn to code to be a good declarative designer. Open source and open standards. Well, Penpot is an open source product. We are licensed under the MPL2 license. And I think this is quite relevant. This is a serious effort. Building a tool like Penpot is quite a challenge. I honestly believe that is one of the biggest challenges because you have all the challenges, many challenges, the big challenges into one tool. No wonder you don't have many of these tools around. Not to be disrespectful to other tools, but this is one of the hardest. And to make this open source, going back to this unconditional generosity, it's amazing. Anyone can take all the code from Penpot and fork it. Actually, there are people doing that and building businesses on top of Penpot, thinking Penpot a bit like a WordPress, like as a framework. So not only plugins, we will discuss that in a minute. And of course, having it open source means that you can self-host Penpot, your own Penpot server. And you own the whole infrastructure. Finally, you get the end-to-end developer process under your control. You can use our SaaS, but I'll tell you, we are now crossing the 1 million users, and 50% of those users come from self-host Penpot. So it's a quite big thing for us. Then the non-opinionated, well, and a way to make sure that you are non-opinionated is that you don't build everything yourself. And you can imagine how many feature requests we get every single hour. Build this. Sometimes it's build this like this other tool. Or build this not like this other tool. Or just I want this. Or thanks for this release, but. All that every single day. This is not us cheating the game. But this is telling, look, we don't want to build everything. It will get so complex, so cluttered. Don't just the user interface, the whole cognitive load around Penpot. So we'll make sure that we keep ourselves in this tension and allow everyone to build plugins and extend Penpot the way they want. We have now more than 100 plugins, and we've got amazing feedback from, Carol knows this very, very well. The developer experience for the plugin system for Penpot is amazing. People are saying, I never thought it was so easy to build a plugin. And it's very shiny and visual because it's a design tool. So I think also people like that. So this was for the non-opinionated. And then we had the accessible and inclusive world. Well, we produce a lot of content. Tutorials. Here you can see Laura Kalbach doing her famous, I see some people nodding, like she does an amazing job doing live hands-on demo on all topics from beginner to advanced, and we make sure that they are meant for a wide variety of audiences. We have libraries and templates and ways to get you started. We don't take anything for granted. We don't think you are already an expert, whether you are a junior designer or developer or an advanced. We want you to feel welcome to Penpot. Since Penpot is an open source product, we think high of a community with a capital C. And so here you see that in action. By the way, I would like to extend an invitation here to everyone here, if you care about this, to our Penpot Fest event in Madrid, October 8 to 10. It's going to be amazing. We had one in Barcelona 2 years ago. It was wonderful. Whether you know Madrid or not, just come and enjoy the city and Penpot Fest. 2.5 day event, and we are going to discuss many topics: community building, tooling, all that stuff. So Penpot Fest. Are you happy, Medet? I did the. Anyone wanting to know more about Penpot Fest, they can go and chat with Medet. So we are getting to the little surprise for a change of mood. Another nice example of this bridging the gap between designers and developers is design tokens. And today I would like you to enjoy a little demo. I'm going to do this a live demo for the upcoming 2.6 release. This was the little surprise. So I'm going to show you how we are integrating natively design tokens into Penpot. So a very dear topic for an audience like you. I'm going to connect to our pre-production server. And I'm going to try my best to go through this in 7 to 10 minutes. Design tokens, when I was preparing this demo during the weekend, I thought, this is huge. It's impossible for me to just convey what is here. So I'm already thinking I'm not going to pass the exam, but I'm here with you, full transparency. I'll just show some stuff. Hope you understand what's there and what I'm not showing. And yeah, let's do. Do you want the demo? Yeah, of course you want the demo. And now I think, okay, and what with the mic? Because I need. Okay? No. I mean, I know you're okay because you can listen to me, but I don't know the recording. We'll have to go with this. This is not a secret demo. This was not planned. This. And please don't. No one comes and do the thing. Okay. So demo time. Let me see. I'm going to refresh just because I don't know Wi-Fi things. Okay. So first question, or well, actually the only question: who here is familiar, like in I use it on a weekly basis type of familiar, with Figma variables or Token Studio Design Tokens plugin? Okay, so actually the minority. Okay, quit pivoting. No worries, I'm going to get you through the design token thing, so intro tokens. So design tokens are ways to encapsulate a design decision into like a tiny packet. Some people think of them as variables, but they are so much more, right? And this makes a design system able to scale, because a lot of these design decisions, you're putting them into these small pockets that you can relate to when you are building your design systems through your design components. So I don't know, 10 years ago, nobody would care about design tokens. But now that we're getting more complex design systems, you need to keep creating these small smart objects around design decisions. So I'm going to show you a very simple example, and then I'll go a bit deeper into that. So now you see this, if you're familiar with Penpot, you see this is new, these tokens here. So what I'm going to do is, this is typically a simple documentation of some colors. I'm going to be as basic as I can so everyone can keep. So let's first create a set of these tokens. You can see here we have different categories of tokens. We have border radius, color, dimensions, opacity, rotation, sizing, all that. More are coming to Penpot. We have typographies in a different section. So you will see this list being filled up. I'm just going to go with color now. So I'm going to create a set. I'm going to call this a global. Global tokens typically are like very primitive data, very primitive information. I'm going to simply create a couple of colors. I'm going to make this simple. So color, I'm going to call this token mint 100, I'm going to just copy this. I can use the color picker, but I'm going to just save it. I'm translating a simple kind of variable list of stuff into proper tokens, okay? And so that's global. Let's do now mint, so to keep it simple, mint 900. So mint 900. And there we are, okay. So this is my super global 2-token set, okay? People like to have a global token set so they can refer to those when they're creating other type of tokens. And you're going to see that in a minute. So I'm going to create another set. I'm going to call this semantic. Why not? I'm going to activate those global. And I'm going to do the same. I'm going to create 2 colors. But now you're going to see a different strategy. I have the flat hex value for the color. Remember those 2? But now when I create a color and I use semantic naming for this, I'm going to actually refer to mint 100. And you see that invalid color value reddish message. The moment I just make sure it is a reference, and this is a alias, I get the result value. So this token actually is pointing to a global token. And this is semantic token. So you can imagine all the ripple effects, you know, alongside this. But I'm not finished. I'm going to also do this one. And again, I'm going to do, sorry, this is, and mint 900. Okay. Okay, easy. So I'm going to activate these semantic tokens, and now I want to go to this button, super complex element here. So I select the button, and I just go to this color token. I can click, and the token is smart enough to tell me which properties of the element I selected can accept a color token. Not every property. The same happens with opacity, etc. In this case, we have fill and stroke. So I'll go with this primary and just do the fill. And I'll go with this other one and go to stroke. Probably you didn't notice, but this is not black anymore. This is like that. Okay. So this looks very simple. And I mean, to do things like that, we wouldn't have created design tokens in the first place. But this just explodes. You can create very complex hierarchical sets and ways to create design systems. So far, so good. Okay. For designers and developers, this should look quite nice. Like simple, you know. But let's do something more complicated. Now that you are experts in creating design tokens, I'm going to go to the this one. So fast forward, and I go to a design which has a bit more complexity. It resembles a beverage brand there, and here you see that. Let me see. I have created different. I have the global set because that's very useful, but I have the brand group and the mode group, and you can see I've used some other border radius, things like that. You can easily create a set simply by saying like test and then slash and then a, and you get your very easily grouping system. So I'm going to delete that. Now, similar to CSS and other overriding property system, if I go and select 0, that definition of the tokens using the same names, the same semantic names, since they have different values for 0 here, okay? So if I go here, I go to color. You see the colors, right? It's black and red. But if I now click on echo, they change. The cool thing is that the change didn't affect the name. The name remains the same, but the color changes because that is a different set. And so convention is very important in design tokens. How you name things gives you a lot of power. And I can deselect 0 and regular. It doesn't have any effect because it's the lower that always wins. And if I go to light, I would get, this is theming, typically dark and light. So I can create all sort of different combinations. Okay? Does it look nice? Okay. You are dealing, you like it? Yeah, you like it. We're dealing with complexity here. Design tokens are here to help us dealing with massive amounts of complexity. And I'm going to do something a bit weird, which is, I'm going to export this. So if you go here to the tools, I'm going to export this. And we are using the W3C draft standard. So I get a JSON file. I can create, I just open this. This is the file. So of course you can integrate design tokens in Penpot with whatever. I mean, we're using a W3 standard, draft standard. So here you have the same representation, and I'm going to do a nice little addition. So I'm going to just copy and paste the echo, and I'm going to name this Algolia, because Algolia are our friends. And I'm going to directly change this color green to neutral light, one of the token names that we have. I'm going to save this, and I'm going to import it back. Okay? And what is going to happen is that Penpot knows what changed and what not. So only the diff is going to be applied. And there you have it. You had Algolia here. And if I now click on Algolia, you see that we have those tokens applied. So as easy as import, export. Some people will use Penpot like as a design tool. Some people will like to treat design JSON files. We will see more of that if we have time later on. This is looking like, I don't know, simple or convenient. This is massive. I'm telling you, this is massive. This is a different way. Yeah, Nicolas knows. Let's do a little change here. So you people, particularly for people that are not familiar with tokens, let me just perhaps go echo again. So important. You saw before I used an alias. I said this token actually refers to the value of this other token. So if I select this, let me see this here. I can see here in border radius that this token is being applied. Can you see it more or less in the screen? This is. By the way, I'm using light mode instead of dark mode because I think on screens looks better. But you can use Penpot either way. And I'm saying the UI here, not the theme for. If I edit this token, you can see I can apply that to different stuff. I see that's actually multiplying two tokens. So I'm referring to those two values, and I'm deciding the mathematical equation here, or the operation is something times something. So let's go for dimension base. Dimension base is here under dimension. So I'm going to change it from 4 to 6. What is going to happen? This is affecting the border radius. You should immediately see a change in the border radius, or else it's a bug, by the way. Okay. So this, I'm going to just leave it like it was. So this token is not being applied directly. It's being referenced through a token that has been applied directly. So don't think of tokens as they have to be applied always. They can be used as just some utility thing. Let's see. Okay. So now I want to show you how to create themes. So we got tokens, we get sets of tokens, and now we want themes. Themes are collections of sets of tokens that are combined in one big decision. Okay, and you can switch between themes more easily than just clicking or selecting or not selecting sets. So I'm going to create one. I'm going to create, let's say, a group for those themes. This is optional. So typically you would create a theme that is called dark, and this would mean that I'm using global sets and I would like to activate dark. This is a decision. Whenever I say activate dark theme, that is going to be applied. all the definitions, all the overrides are going to go through that. Let's add another one. Already have this group. And I save it, and I say global again, because we are using global all the time. In this particular example, save theme. And I'm going to use another example, for instance. Let me just say, well, I could just use this. So here, if I just go to dark, I go dark, and I go to light, it goes light. Okay? Okay, thank you. I can create as many one. Actually, I could do something a bit crazy. I could say combo and say dark eco. And I say dark eco means global, eco and dark. Okay? Did I create it? Ah, yes, okay. So I just deselect that and just say dark eco. And that's it. It's everything in one go. Some people might want to do this shortcut thing. Some people might want to have all this theme decision differently, you know, depending on what you think a theme is. Non-opinionated. Okay. Okay, we're getting to the end, till the end, you know, close to the end of the demo. So far, are you liking it? Then do this, please. Do this. Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm having but I'm continuing a bit more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. No problem.
Okay.
We'll take it.
Unless these people don't want to see more hands-on demo. Okay, so now I'm going to last bit of the demo. It might get a bit weird now, but it's fine. This is a design system project that we have. You have the colors, you have the typography styles. You know, people that are doing design systems understand this. You know, badges, checkboxes, menus, all that stuff. This is a sandbox for a design system. How you combine tokens with design components. This is the last bit of the demo. So. I can, let's just focus on something very visual like this, okay? So this, if I go to tokens, you will see I have all these sets, but you know now that we use themes a lot because they are super convenient, so I'm just going to play with themes. So I got dark mode, and then I just go light mode, and when I click on light mode, we get our design system completely converted into light mode. So this is super cool. And then I want to show you something like specifically, if you go to assets, here's where Penpot stores all design components. So I'm going to go for a button. Here we have all the stuff, or say primary, or this same. I can go to any component in my design system and say show main component, so I'll immediately navigate to where that component is. I can zoom out a bit so you know. And again, I can go to just select my dark mode, going back, and I see my component reflecting that. Okay, so this is how you're combining your design components and design tokens. Of course, in order to do this, when you are designing your design components, you have to use tokens to inform their properties, but that's it. And then finally, and this really finally, you saw the export, the JSON thing. Bear with me. You can actually export the whole project into a JSON file, well, into a zip file actually. You go here, you go file, and you go to download Penpot file. So you see that .penpot. So it takes a few seconds. This is a big file, close. And this is very relevant because when we're discussing Penpot as being the single source of truth, or helping designers and developers enjoy single source of truth, actually the representation of the project itself in such a zip file, I'm going to show you. I think it speaks volumes. So here you can see the internal structure of a Penpot file. This is one-to-one what you just saw. So you can see the manifest here. And look, you are a privileged audience. You are looking at release candidate of 2.6 that is coming out in a couple of weeks. Yay! This is historical. I mean, you can say, you can boast, in your social media, whatever. I saw 2.6.0 release candidate 140 Gs and the hash. Okay, like really pre-production, but it's quite solid. I mean, we are ready to release this. And well, this is manifest. This is boring, although it's nice to see that. If I go to files, I go here, components. Let's just click on the first one. Okay, so I have a description of a component. This is icons 16 link. So if I go here, this is I don't know. I just like it. Okay. So if I go components, icons, and I go 16, the link one. This one. This is the component that I'm referring to, okay? And this is telling me, look, the main instance of this is this hash. So I say, okay, that's fine. Let's look at it. So if I go to the root folder and just look for that, I have a JSON file. And you get the whole component expressed in very simple terms, nothing obfuscated, no black box, just the whole thing here. And this is actually making us very excited because we are seeing very soon a synchronization between Penpot and a Git repository through this. So, okay. It is more complex than it looks and it feels, but we are doing the right thing. We are in the right direction to do this. So, end of the demo. Back to the presentation. I think I didn't miss anything. I think everything was okay. Okay. Did you like the demo? This was a little surprise. Thank you. And everything went okay. So kudos to the team. When I was preparing this little demo during the weekend, I found one bug, just one. And I think they did a pre-production deployment a few years ago to just fix that one. It was really the model for the color picker that was placed awkwardly. It wasn't really nothing. You actually didn't see it because I didn't use it. It's quite stable. Really, really, in a couple of weeks, you will have this. But you will always be able to say, I was there 2 weeks before. It happened. So, oh, by the way, well, this is a picture I took from Roussillon. You know the village in La Provence? And this is the Eco Museum, the Ocre Eco Museum. And this is a nice way of also look at design tokens in very old-fashioned. I just love. This is a picture we took when we were last year enjoying La Provence. Nice, nice. I just love that array of colors. By the way, I'm not a designer myself. My background is physics and computer science, but you can fall in love with design, right? As I did. Okay, so post-Kadesh 2.0. Now, you belong to the generation of Kadesh 2.0 and what and why, and you get it already. But we wanted to share very quickly people that are already using Penpot. And the why, let's say, we already get it, but who? So we had all sort of... now I can do this, yeah. Oh, suddenly this becomes very important. So universities, like this front row from Lut, University in Finland. I don't know if you're using Penpot, but other universities like usual suspects like MIT, or there's the Crystal Institute in Hong Kong. They're actually giving courses with like kind of their official certificate to teach designers and developers Penpot as a tool for a skill, which we love. We prefer the skill career rather than the tool career. Government bodies, lots of cities and regional governments. We have fans in the Netherlands for different cities, The Hague, Amsterdam, using Penpot for design systems. A lot of these onboarding projects for Penpot come from the DesignOps design systems appetite, I'd say. The Scottish design system also uses Penpot. I'll just say French government, but I won't tell any details about this, but some agencies in the French government. But there's, if we travel a bit abroad, we'll say, like, for instance, a US state for the courts of justice. They're dealing with critical data and all that, and everyone these days designs something, you know. This is not, this is now a generic productivity tool for everyone. So we're getting like courts of justice from some states in the US, some national bank of some important country in Europe. So again, like not the usual place you would think a tool like Penpot would be, and they are actually early adopters. In terms of tech giants, all the tech giants that you enjoy in your hands or you have in your mind, Fortune 500, but also like the top 10, all of them are either using Penpot or addressing their migration. I'm not allowed to say any more than this. I mean, we can say everything about ourselves since we are an open source company, but not everything about other people. So we'll respect that. But if we, again, travel abroad and discuss interesting examples, Tencent, anyone knows Tencent here? Yeah, who doesn't? They are massively using Penpot. But they started 3 years ago. 3 years ago, one of the most the biggest deployments of Penpot, and they're using it to develop software, of course, but also Embraer. Anyone knows Embraer? The big Carol knows because Embraer is one of the top airplane manufacturers in the world. So they're also using Penpot. I mean, all the industries that are either regulated or have sensitive data and have massive amounts of developers that need to also upscale their design skills, or are either using Penpot or becoming a Penpot user. And then I love to share names that are publicly showing their love for Penpot, like open source companies or projects like Blender. Blender, for those of you that know Blender, Blender designs Blender using Penpot. By the way, Blender won indirectly the Oscar award for animation movie, Flow. Anyone knows Flow? Yeah? Well, if you have a cat, be ready to cry a bit. Red Hat, Wikimedia, XWiki, a French open source company, XWiki, they're using Penpot, Nextcloud, a lot. So we'll be happy to perhaps, en petit comité, discuss more details, not a lot more, I have to admit, but yeah, it is being now it's really a thing. We have grown 250% in 2 years, and now we are doubling every year. So this is huge for us, and I think this is it. So thank you very much. We'll take some questions now.
Thanks, Pablo. That was really interesting. So much data to operate for us.
I'm sorry.
We will have some questions. You could ask questions in French also, parce que Pablo est polyglotte, qui parle très bien français.
Polyglotte, c'est un peu trop, hein?
But also in English if you want. I will ask the first question, because I've got the mic. As DesignOps, I've got in mind a big question. Can you give us quick words around economical model of Penpot?
Yes, so we are an open source company, and so we must ensure sustainability over time. And we had our own savings and private investment to make sure that we were able to build Penpot so far. But now we are unveiling our business model. Actually, it was in Paris last December that we made this official. I think some people already watched that video. And our model is simple. We build the best product for designers and developers, and that is open source. And then we build a separate back office that controls the freedom and autonomy that those users can enjoy, laissez-faire, with Penpot. And that you pay for. So as an advanced user, making all the decisions by yourself, or your team or your organization, Penpot it just gives you the advanced experience. But if for whatever reason, and we won't judge, your organization needs to put some guidelines, controls governing how Penpot is being used and deployed, then you have to pay. You have to pay if you want to restrict, limit, configure that default laissez-faire experience. And we call that tax the controller model. But actually, if you zoom out a bit, it's what we call the open nitrate model. So it's not an open core. For those of you familiar with open core business model in open source, anyone knows here open core business model? This is more like a freemium version for open source. You keep it relatively okay for free, and then for people wanting the advanced features, those are proprietary. They're not open source. Penpot, we don't want that. We want the most advanced product to be open source, and is limiting those features that you pay for. So yeah, we are. I don't know what happened there. So this is the business open nitrate model, and we are seeing other companies in the open source arena taking that and being inspired by that.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Do you have any questions? Yes, first here.
Hello. So we see in the industry different takes on AI and generative AI in the design softwares. Not to cite them, but Figma has a take and Motif has another take. What's Penpot's position on AI and generative AI in the design?
In general terms, whatever we build in Penpot will have to be open source and give you freedom. So AI in general will fall into that category. Particularly with generative AI, we are not so sure it's actually helping the design process. We've been studying that and working hard on our own prototypes for 2 years, and we are not really optimistic about what diffusion models or LLMs can do with such a complex artifact as a living UI object. So this perhaps is for the networking part, but we are not taking the generative AI shortcut to the artifact approach, but rather supercharging the design process so that the user is kind of the source of the truth and accuracy, and Penpot is just helping them accelerate whatever they had in mind. So protecting the creative process of the user and just accelerating that through the tool. And we have strong opinions about that. It's not just the technical feasibility that I want to share with you. We think it's not there. We think it's complicated. But also, in terms of the vision, we prefer to go more traditional machine learning process and less generative AI, to be honest.
Yes, hello. I'm here. Thank you for the show. It was beautiful to see
but
this
did you see
feature.
anything? Because I now
Yeah,
realize...
I have 2 screens, but not you.
Okay, okay. Then thank you for the show. Okay.
Yeah. This was beautiful. I was waiting for this kind of stuff in this kind of software for so many years. It looks like the features we have seen in Token Studio. Did they work with the Penpot chip? For example, for the teams just behind you, what we see, it's an advanced feature of Token Studio, no?
I'm so sorry to say that I forgot to mention that we build design tokens with Token Studio.
That's insane. What about style dictionary then?
Of course, again with Token Studio, with Mike Aminga and the rest. We've been working with them for a year now, and this is the result of a true partnership, an alliance of not Kadesh 2.0 perhaps, but something similar between 2 open source companies at the core. Token Studio they're also part of the drafting of the W3C standard. So this is a joint collaboration. You are seeing here a partnership, a collaboration between 2 separate tools, and while they'll build their own suite to express the more advanced journeys around Token Studio, they conceived with the Penpot team how that would look like from a Penpot perspective. So thank you so much for the question, and I now feel embarrassed that I forgot to mention this. So you rescued me. Thank you. What's the name?
Louis.
Thank you. Another one.
Hi. Yeah, just had a question on the you were showing earlier the border radiuses
Yeah.
example where you were changing a core token value and you were using our token arithmetics, right, to compute the values
Yes.
of our tokens. So I'm kind of curious why you did that, because to me that feels opinionated, because it's like you're in the files that you're storing in the DTCG file, you are storing something that needs to be interpreted by tools. And in the past, when I've used files from Token Studio, not all color library authors agree on what it means to lighten a color, for instance. And I feel like this is introducing a form of maybe uncertainty at the end of the day, or lack of interoperability between tools. I was just curious to have your thoughts on that.
This is why we're happy to be working around this with Token Studio, because they are having all these discussions also for themselves, particularly with colors. That is, it's that you mentioned colors for a reason. It's not that easy to understand the arithmetic, around colors. I use integer numbers there, so easy. We want to be fully compatible with the draft standard, and then help, if we can, to think of the practicality of things that are not yet in the standard. And we will be happy to, in a way, immolate ourselves or sacrifice ourselves a bit to see what we can do, and then bring that as suggestions for the standard. Always going back to that group. And if they don't agree about our ideas in terms of how to, manage colors in that way, we'll have to make a decision. Well, okay, we remain, like, you cannot do that with colors. I could not, right now, if you go to a Penpot, when you have the 2.6, you see that we don't have arithmetical operations with colors. This is another tension, the standard and what the industry needs, and back and forth. But we're happy to play the game. It's fine as long as it's transparent and open. I think that's fine.
Thanks.
Hey, that works. Hey Pablo, thanks for the talk. I have a double question for you. A first part on the design part and the second part on the dev part, but it's kind of linked. The first one is about what's your take on the multivariant components, and then the second part, because it's linked, do you have a take on the dev part to integrate maybe a part of a storybook to because you have a lot of code and of exportable code. So at a point, if I design some component and multivariant components in the tool, can I have directly the code within Storybook, or an export that I can put on Storybook and declare already all the stories with web components?
That's a very complex question to answer, because you just mentioned Storybook, like a huge thing already. We would like to be able to integrate seamlessly with tools like Storybook. So in that sense, my answer would be yes to your question like this broadly. Multivariant, when you say multivariant, you mean multi-value?
I say, sorry, when you have like a component and you have many variants of that component.
Yeah. Okay, no, because tokens can have multiple values, and so I was thinking. We actually, as we speak, we're building a Penpot variant. And what I can tell you, and I'm sorry I cannot go in much more detail because I'm not there with the team, is that Penpot variants, which we think is a superior version of other tools variants, already will have tokens native in the tool. And so the way we're approaching Penpot variants is different. And so we would like to get the best of both worlds, because both, even if you didn't understand a thing, sorry, I'll move again here, just to give a share of, if you have to get something out of this talk, is that, about the Kadesh 2.0 thing, of course, that's very important. Design tokens are here to deal with complexity. If we do not sort out complexity, designs won't be able to scale up. We'll be trapped in kind of an old regime where everything is very manual and things. Design tokens help us with that in a very neat way, And variants have been an amateurish attempt to deal with complexity, because variants are basically giving you one component and very different variants for some properties. But they both combined smartly, I think, is what truly awaits us in terms of exploring. So my suggestion is that for the next community hours, Medet, perhaps, you can join us. You know, the community hours is an open space. You can come and ask that question directly to the team so that they're exposed and cannot flee from the answer like I just did. But I think partly because we are developing first design tokens and then Penpot variants. I think that changes the way we're approaching that. But everything that is going to link Penpot to any developer pipeline is going to be a top priority for us.
Thank you. I have just a little question about what you just said. Will it be possible to do variants without doing design tokens? Because maybe some companies don't need design tokens and that kind of complexity.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Any more questions? We have one here in the front.
Two.
Okay. Are we good on time? I mean,
Yeah, we are good.
we're good. Okay.
Hi. Thanks, Pablo. I have just a quick question. It's again regarding the design tokens. Earlier on, you showed something like you disabled the light mode and you enabled the dark mode, and I think you enabled both at the same time. How does it know? Is it like the CSS cascade? There's a priority upon which token is going to take precedence? And is it in the order of the set?
Yes. Lower takes precedence.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. When I was using the sets, I was manually deciding those overrides. When I went themes, I was like more. It's easier to deal with that. But yes, this override goes CSS style. Is it a long question?
Hello.
That
Yeah, I had a
read
question. Do you think building a good product, or do you think focusing more on the community is more important? What do you think? What's your take on that?
Well, I don't believe in false dichotomies, but for an open source product, I think it's 50-50. You can build a great product. You don't have the community supporting you, co-creating the product, giving you feedback, making sure that you can reach out to places where otherwise you could not, then you're doomed. Actually, there are a lot of open source products out there that don't have any community, and they're just open source in terms of the license, but they're not really enjoying any community-driven building process. Whereas if you have an inferior product and you have a great community, it is the size of the community that probably is going to tell you how much success you can have. So, but you can go further if we have an inferior product and a great community. I guess you get all that love. But Penpot, we want to have the best product and the best community. So, we are not compromising. But yeah, I mean, that's a great question. Typically relevant for open source companies. Thank you.
Hey, so after version 2.6, what's next on the roadmap for Penpot? Could you give us a quick sneak peek?
Okay. Well, this is, yes, of course. Well, I already shared variants. I promised my colleagues I wouldn't do like this and that. But basically, it is a complex roadmap because we have to focus on various categories. There is a category that we call feature parity, which is what is expected for a tool like us to have just because other tools have it. So it's this familiarity track, feature parity. We don't need to do everything other tools do, but what about that? The second track is differentiation or innovation. And then we have, of course, that's very important for us. We don't want to be just another tool that copies other tools, or we want to be something that goes beyond that. And then we have what we call quality of life, which is attention to detail, polish things. So after 2.6, what you would expect is Penpot variants. I think the The next big thing is Penpot variants. And I don't know, I wouldn't say just a few months, I don't know, 3 months, something like that. Then we will release something that is very important to us, which is the new rendering engine. This is a complete rewrite of the way we render stuff on the browser. We're moving away from the DOM. And we thought browsers, personal sad story here, we thought browsers would innovate faster than they're doing. And so we relied on them using the DOM and SVG rendering. Fail. No, they were not as, well, they did their stuff, it's just that we're not aligned. So we are rewriting the whole rendering engine, and that would give you a massive performance boost for the product. And then the AI experiments, the way I explained they are earlier, so more machine learning, little tools. And I think my personal favorite is the Git integration. I think that is the way to natively full duplex sync a Penpot project onto a file system. And the moment you can do that, then why not go Git? That is very exciting to me. It's not easy because that's for another day. I won't. It's not easy. I just say from visual performative tool to code, easy. From code, verbose, language to design, not easy. I'll just say that if anyone is thinking about the different paradigms there. So yeah, I think short term that it will be it. But then don't forget about the plugin system. That is not in our roadmap. It's already there. And people are building stuff that we hadn't conceived. So that is a meta roadmap there, what people want to build on top of Penpot. Was there any other question? There was. Well, and of course, by the way, part of the roadmap is the back office, because we want to charge businesses for something, right? So we need to build that. Yeah, that too.
Hello. Hello. It works? Okay.
No, it doesn't.
For developer, do we have multiple format choice for export for if we want to use our design token in development?
Right now, for this first version of design tokens, this is not the end of design tokens. We want to do many more work on design tokens. But right now, this is the export is at JSON format.
Okay.
Penpot exports designs into JPEG, SVG, PDF, all that stuff. But for design tokens, for now, that's the JSON format.
Thank you.
Yeah. One thing I didn't show, I don't know if it makes sense, is that whatever you build, I'm just going to go here. Because I think it's, if I go to inspect and go to code, of course you get CSS and HTML and all that. And here in the info you get all that. So design, you can also export this token information here. And this, since we are using declarative design principles, we are allowing you to design with this already built in. So this is not even a translation. This is just an expression of the design. This is huge. This also serves as an export way, because this is the code there already. Do you like this? Yeah, of course. Copy all the code, and you will see exactly what you're seeing here live, really. That's it, I think.
Oui.
We can end with this fine screenshot here.
Thanks a lot. We will pass to another moment. So now we can chat and have a drink. So there are all we already have the beer, I think. So merci beaucoup. N'hésitez pas à venir parler avec Pablo. Il est là pour ça. Profitez-en. Et puis voilà, on va lancer la soirée tranquillement.
Ouais, il y a du coup Pablo CEO, n'hésitez surtout pas. There is Carolina, growth lead, and Bedet, community and event lead. So they are here for you. Just ask them anything, and yeah, they are wonderful humans. Thanks again.